Hi guys, Mrs. Delise here again. Welcome to another lesson of Algebra 2. Today we're going to be learning how to sketch a rough graph of a polynomial function in factored form. Before watching this video, I highly suggest that you watch the previous video called How to Get the Symbolic Representation of Polynomial Functions. That way, it would be easier to understand how to graph polynomial functions. Okay, let us start with the first example. Sketch a graph of the polynomial function f of x equals negative 0.25 x plus 4 x plus 1 times x minus 3. State the degree, the leading coefficient, and both coordinates of the x-intercepts and the y-intercept. Again, this video is a continuation of polynomial functions. Before watching this video, I really suggest that you watch previous videos about polynomials, okay? Now, let us start with the degree. The degree of the polynomial in factored form is just counting how many x's there are, or the x term. In this case, I have 1, 2, and 3. So I have the degree is 3, and 3 is an odd number, and odd number goes opposite the direction. You can just put, usually I put OPP for opposite, but I have a lot of space. And then my leading coefficient is the number right there. It's not really important. The number of the leading coefficient is not really important right now. What's important is the sign of the leading coefficient. The sign of the leading coefficient is in negative, right? So you need to be very careful. I need negative 0.25. And then because it's in negative, it's on the right side down. Okay? So what does that mean? On the right side, right here, this is the right side. The graph is going to be down, and because they have to be opposite, on the left it's going to be up. Okay, that's just my end behavior. That's how the graph will end. We don't know how it's a, we don't know how it looks in the middle yet, but we know how it's going to end. And then for my x-intercept, very simple. We have for x plus 4, that is, let's change that one. We have a negative 4 comma 0. Let's put that in, negative 4 comma 0. And then we have x plus 1, so that is a negative 1 comma 0. Negative 1 comma 0. If you notice, I'm already putting the points as I write them. And then x minus 3 equals 0, so that's a 3 comma 0. So that is a 3 comma 0. And if you forget, for the last time, if you have x plus 4 equals 0, I need to make that equal to 0 to get my x-intercepts. And I have to do that for every single factored form that I have. Okay? And that's how I got negative 4, negative 1, and a positive 3. For the y-intercept, as usual, very easy. You have to plug in a 0. You have negative 0.25, 0 plus 4, 0 plus 1, 0 minus 3. 125, that is a 4, 1, and negative 3. And so you just multiply all of them together. So you have negative 0.25 times 4 times 1 times negative 3. That is a positive 3, right? And so we have 0 comma 3. Okay, now that we have all our information, all we have to do now is to graph it. Let's put our y-intercept as 0 comma 3. Here's the important thing to note though. Remember that if you watch the polynomial function symbolic representation, there are points in the graph that are repeated, right? There's what we call bouncing, there's what we call that is repeated 3 times, so there's a curve going on. But this time, it looks like there's no special cases. They are only all passing through. Okay? So they're just once. And I'm gonna put a note there, passing through, passing through, passing through. Meaning to say, once I touch the graph, I want to touch the x-intercept, it just passes through. Okay, let me, hopefully you're following. Because in here it's going up, and I know that because of my right, on the right side it's down, and then it has to be opposite. So this one on the left has to be up. So I'm going to touch that, pass through, touch, pass through, hit your y-intercept, and then you pass through. And so let's take, that was just my practice. And there. I would like you to note that this is just, what is this called? This is just a rough graph of a polynomial function. So we do not have to worry about where the vertex is located. Okay, as long as you're hitting the correct x-intercepts, the correct n behavior, the correct y-intercept, you should be okay. Okay, right? I hope that is not super hard for you. Let's do number 2. Let's start with the degree of the polynomial, which is counting the x's. We have x squared and x cubed. So we have 1 over 8 x squared and x cubed. 1 8x to the power of 5. Remember, I did this one on my previous video called N behavior of a factored form. So you need to make sure that you've watched that also. We have degree of 5, like, because the exponent is 5, so the degree is 5. And 5 is an odd number. And odd number degrees go positive, opposite direction. And then for my leading coefficient, it's this number right here. And it's very important that I note that my leading coefficient is not just any kind of number, but it's a positive 1/8. And so positive meaning on the right side, it goes up. And then if you take a look in here, for my previous example, let's go back quickly. My leading coefficient is in negative. That's why it's on the right side, it's going to be down. And so here, on the right side is up, and they need to go on an opposite direction. That means on the left, it's going down. Okay? Let's start with x-intercept. We have x plus 2 squared. That means that it's repeated. Correct? So we have an x-intercept, we have a negative 2 comma 0, and I'm going to put b, meaning it will bounce at that point because it's repeated twice. And then I have 2 comma 0, and I'm going to put c for curve, meaning that at that point my graph will be, what do you guys think? My graph will be curving. So I will have x plus 2 equals 0, and that's how I get negative 2. Okay. And then I have x minus 2 equals 0. That's how I got a positive 2. Okay. And then let's find our y-intercept. We have f of 0, 1 over 8, 0 plus 2 squared, 0 minus 2 cubed, 0 plus 2, that's a 2 squared. Oops, that's a minus 2 cubed. Don't forget. So 2 times 2, that's a 4. Negative 2 cubed, that means negative 2 times negative 2 times another negative 2. That's a negative 8. All together is 32 divided is negative 4. So we have 0, comma. Oh, I forgot to write them down as I went through each of them. So I have a negative 2 and I have a positive 2. Okay, let's start the graph. We know that we are going to start the graph down here because it says right up and so the left is down because they have to be opposite. So I'll start my graph this side, okay? And then this one is the -2, and it says that it's B means bounce. So instead of a passing through, I'm going to bounce it. That makes sense? So I'm going to bounce, hit, and instead of passing through, normally we go pass through, but because it says curve, I am going to curve that before passing through. So I'm going to go touch, touch, pass through, curve a little, and then go up. Do you guys see the difference? This one is bouncing. That's how I said B in there. And this one is curve because this one is repeated 3 times. The point is used 3 times. Okay, number 3. We have, let's count our x's. We have that, and that twice. So we have 0.1 x cubed, another x in the x plus 2, another x squared in the x minus 3. That is 0.1 x to the power of 2, 3, 4, 6. So our degree is 6. Finally, right? Finally, our degree is an even number. So this is even. That means they go on the same direction. And my leading coefficient is positive zero point 0.1. So on the right side, it's going to be up. So on the right side, it's up. And because they have to be on the same direction, my left is also up. Okay, for my x-intercept, I'll start with negative for the x plus 2 equals 0. I keep showing this even though I keep saying I'm not going to show. X minus 3 equals 0, that's a positive 3. So, oops, just gonna so I know I have a 3 comma 0, 3 comma 0. I know I have a negative 2 comma 0, negative 2 comma 0. Oh, but what about the x cube? What does the x cube means? The x, is that x plus 0, right? The x cube means that you have a x plus 0, you have, what is that called? You have an x-intercept at the origin. Okay, so x plus 0 equals 0. Of course, x is equal to 0, right? That makes sense? Okay, so we have a 0 comma 0. And what I mean that every time you just see an x squared, an x cubed, or just an x, not x plus 2, not x plus 3, just x, that means you have an x-intercept at the origin. And because I have an x-intercept at the origin, my y-intercept automatically would be 0 comma 0. Okay, and even if I solve and plug in 0, I will still get 0. So it doesn't matter. Oh, I think we're forgetting to put our note. This x plus 2, this one is coming from x plus 2, that is just a passing through. Okay, oh, sorry, got deleted. Let's put that again. Right up. And then for my x-intercepts, I'm going to put them again. I think we're forgetting the negative 2 comma 0. It is just a passing through. Okay, PT. And then moving for 0 comma 0, because 0 comma 0 is 3, so that's going to be curved. And then for the last one is for 3 comma 0, that is going to be bouncing. And then of course my y-intercept is 0 comma 0. So I have a point right there. So my y-intercept and my x-intercept is at the same point, yeah, at the origin. Okay, it says that we're starting up here. And every time I hit the graph, you guys have to make sure you remember what's going to happen. So here, this is a -2. It just says pass through. So I'm just going to pass through that. No curve, no bouncing, just pass through. And once I hit this point, it says that I will curve that. And then once I hit this point, it says I will bounce it, right? Okay, so let's put that. I will go hit pass through, curve, and once I hit that, I will bounce back. And remember, earlier we predicted that the end behavior will go up, up on the same direction. And here you go. The same, we have a polynomial that ended on the same direction. I'm hoping that this is not too confusing. If you have any question, please let me know. You can do the rest of the problem. So here it's repeated once, once, and once. Oh, it's not repeated. This one is repeated twice, so there's a bouncing effect, a bouncing behavior going on. And this one is repeated. It's going to be there's a curve behavior going on in there. Thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions, please let me know as soon as possible. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.